Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
And we are into week 8 of the 2024 summer season. So we're going to discuss episode 7 of Shoshimin and episode 8 of both Ramen Akaneko and My Deer Friend Nokotan. Summer is pretty much in full swing. Shoshimin and Jogoro and Yuki have been visiting the assortment of dessert shops that she notified him in the beginning of summer that she wanted to visit. We find Jogoro trying to relax, reading, I'm sure for the millionth time, Murder on the Orient Express, blissfully ignoring his cell phone. What he can't ignore, though, is the house phone. Annoyed by the distraction, he shuffles downstairs and picks it up to find Yuki on the other end, telling him that she has plans for them for the next day to visit a shop that is in between two different destinations, kind of giving him a little bit of a quiz to figure out if he can determine where she means to go. He quickly figures out which store it is, and the next day he heads out to meet her, but ends up being about an hour early. The shopping district that the store is located in appears to be celebrating reggae for some reason. So you've got a lot of characters sporting the Rastafari imagery. Jogoro decides to waste some time and he picks up a hamburger at a local fast food chain. He sits down, but before he can eat it, Kengo is sitting at the counter as well and lets him know that he's there. Kengo is working undercover, trying to get some information on a group of kids that a friend of his sister is involved in. The kids have a reputation for being active drug users, and a friend has enlisted his help to try to get the sister out of what could be a potentially troubling situation. The group of kids kind of split off, and Kengo decides that he needs to follow one of them and asks Jogoro if he can keep an eye on the others, while he has time without going out of his way to do anything. Kengo hands him a slip of paper on his used tray mat and tells him to get a hold of the person there to let them know if anything comes up. Before Jogoro can even take a bite into his burger, he's approached by a girl that is dressed like a flower child, and it is Yuki once again in disguise out in public. He enlists her help, trying to understand the note that Kengo left him for the contact information. Sheet of paper just has a very rudimentary stick figure on it, and it makes him think of the Japanese character for Han, which is primarily used for have. After a little bit of back and forth, trying to figure out what kind of esoteric meaning it could have, Jogoro realizes that it was the continuation of a map that is on the tray mat for the food, and that one of the marks on it is essentially X marks the spot of where the contact that Jogoro wanted him to get in touch with would be residing. So that mystery solved, they head off, come to a restaurant, find a young woman, determine pretty quickly that that's the person that Kengo had meant for him to contact. The woman is the person in question who has been requesting Kengo's help with her sister's problem. He just kind of updates her on what Kengo is up to, and then he and Yuki finally head off and get their dessert. A couple days later, he ends up getting invited out to lunch with Kengo as kind of an apology and a thank you for having him help him with the situation he's dealing with. While they're enjoying their noodles, they start to talk more about the situation, and that the girl who is the leader of the group is a girl that had gone to middle school with Yuki and Jogoro, and at that point had already gotten in trouble with the authorities for drug use. Kengo is coming into a bit of a roadblock in helping his friend's sister get out of the situation due to a lot of personal threats of violence towards the girl that's the leader of the group. And Kengo himself was having a hard time even convincing the girl that he wasn't a spy for the girl, who's become quite a bit paranoid and controlling with the entire situation. We skip ahead a couple more days, and Yuki invites Jogoro out to go to the next dessert shop and asks him to meet her at her house. Shows up. She doesn't answer the door. Her mother does. She informs him that Yuki ran out for some quick shopping and that she will be back soon and he can just come in and wait for her. While they're waiting, though, idle chit-chat, she gets a phone call, and the person on the other end of the line is telling her that Yuki has been kidnapped and they're trying to ransom her off. That's where the episode ends. So I'm going to call it right now. This is just a ploy by Yuki. I think it's a ploy by Yuki. With how mundane the series has been, it seems way out of character for the show itself to suddenly have this crazed kidnapping for ransom plot. especially when that's something that doesn't really happen in Japan all that often. So I think this is a ploy by Yuki. She may have cooked up this elaborate scenario to get his brain juices cooking as a way to say thank you for following her around all summer as she eats empty calories. That's my suspicion.
It's a weird way to get a guy's rocks off.
Okay, look at the characters we're talking about. They are not normal people, and their relationship is very complicated and unusual. And since last episode, I keep thinking about what their relationship actually is. Why are they friends? Why do they pretty much spend all this time together? I don't know.
I just got excited that something exciting might be happening.
You know what? And I thought about this last episode too. Yuki doesn't have a twin sister. And she was fucking a Kengo. In the episode at the end of the driver's ed thing.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's just her. I don't think there's a sister.
We finally saw an adult, though.
We did. We saw Yuki's mom, who looks exactly like her.
Yeah, that's... What if it's just Yuki?
No, her demeanor and
I know.
physicality was way different.
Pulls off the mask. It was me the whole time.
Yeah, there's some creepy latex thing. No, this was a good episode. I always appreciate a slice of life anime that deals with the darker reality of adolescence, drug use, sexual abuse, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate when anime or when stories do that out of Japanese media, primarily because, so I watch a ton of slice of life, particularly romance, and they're so sugary normally. They're just so removed from what real life is actually like. When you get a show that does talk about the difficult things that are real, it makes it more enjoyable because of how rare it is within the medium. So I really liked that they brought up this idea of there's this group of kids who are a bunch of druggies, but the dynamic of the group and the way that Kengo is explaining it seems very strange. Like the idea that somebody who does drugs will force somebody to do drugs with them is a bit of a fallacy, because most people who are drug users are usually less inclined to share their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, it's mine. Like, you can do it with me, but you got to bring your own stuff. So I don't know. It seemed the concept of a ringleader of drug use seems a little removed from real life for me. But otherwise, that's my only problem with that concept. It seems implausible, honestly.
It's the idea of peer pressure.
Yeah, but no. This is peer pressure through threat of violence towards your family.
It could happen.
I don't know.
People are fucked up, Steve.
True, people are fucked up.
You want people to be as low as you in a lot of those mentalities. Or she just really, really wants to be in charge, and this is her way of enforcing her, like, power trip.
The girl that Yuki and Jogoro went to middle school with, Isawa, it seems more like she is just a control freak. And I don't know if the drugs are necessarily the catalyst for her behavior or the use of the drugs within the group setting. I think it's just more of her personality of just wanting to be this domineering figure.
Right, but I'm not saying that the drugs are causing her to do that. I'm saying her pushing those drugs is her way of control.
I'm sure there are other things she does that are controlling too, honestly.
Right, but that's not the point we're analyzing here.
True.
All in all, the threat of an actually interesting story is...
The threat. I like the way you put that.
It had me excited at the very end.
The whole story was interesting because it was actually something... it dealt with subjects that had consequences.
Like a cupcake?
Or I should say, it dealt with subjects that were consequential. Like a cupcake with habanero sauce on it.
So consequential. They ended world hunger by figuring out that habanero sauce.
Yeah, but you have to go through the gauntlet of fire to survive world hunger in that case.
They definitely had rings of fire after that.
I was a little taken aback with the reggae festival thing. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Reggae, come on, man.
Due to dreads, there were a couple of kids with I think they had baseball hats on that had pot leaf symbols on them. I'm like, oh, this is so funny.
Yeah, they totally don't know what real reggae is.
You noticed Yuki right away when you walked into the store, right?
Yeah.
Like before she even introduced herself. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. She was not hiding very well.
No, she's in a fucking flower child costume. Like, I could hear the deer crying in the background.
Yeah.
The clothing.
It was great.
I could hear Shikanoko crying in the background. from all the
Because of the deer skin?
Yeah, from all the slaughtered deer.
It might just be one. Your skin vest.
Shikanoko is still crying.
You know what I think the theme of this episode was?
What?
Jogoro can't catch a break.
No, he can't. He just wanted to... Did he even eat his burger?
No, I don't know. The boy needs to not be so uptight. Just eat your food while you're having your conversation. But I understand that was intentionally done in the animation.
Right.
Continue, like he'd try to go and the conversation would keep going to be like, oh, yeah, okay. I'll put the burger down. So we'll see what the truth of Yuki's situation is next week. I'm saying it's a setup, that it's something to occupy Jogoro's mind and make things exciting for him.
I hope you're wrong. I want the series to be exciting.
Okay.
I really want it to be exciting. So please.
2 good episodes in a row, though.
Oh, yeah. I was like, what the fuck was last episode?
Last episode was the one with the Charlottes.
Yeah. And the actual factual psychology.
Yeah.
This week on Ramen Akaneko, we have a very warm summer around the Akaneko shop. It's pretty slow because it's hot. No one really wants to go out and travel to a ramen shop. Their last customer leaves, and Sasaki suggests that he'll go out and take the sign down. As he's going out in his adorable little cat sandals, he sees a woman who is very close to suffering from heat stroke, invites her into the shop, and has her drink some water while he entertains her little, probably less than a year-old baby. Maybe a year-old. Like roughly between 6 months to a year.
Yeah. It was definitely under a year.
Very young. And while she's there, she realizes that this is a ramen shop, and she decides to order food rather reluctantly, but the cats ensure her that they will take care of her baby because it's slow. Hana kind of suggests it too. At first she does. She gets kind of jealous when only he pays attention or gets to pay attention to the baby, and he forces her to clean. We get this very adorable series of events where the baby's like pushing on Sasaki's paw pads, playing with his face, and the mom's just like, I have not enjoyed a hot meal in a life age of man, and enjoys and gets dismissed. Or she's not dismissed, but she gets, she heads home with her baby now fed and watered, I guess. And pretty much episode ends on a happy note. Sasaki does get admonished a tiny bit for paying so much attention to a child, but he's like, nobody was there and she really needed the help. So I'm happy to put our customers' needs over the store, which great customer service.
Well, I mean, what's on their menu, number 1 priority is customer service, number 2 priority is food. And
he reminded all the cats of that. Then the next episode we go to is kind of a cute episode of how Tamako, she has gotten really good at brushing. She has been brushing the cats, doing research on like cat skeletal structure and fur patterns and all that stuff so that she can brush the cats to a very high standard so that they're relaxed. Her job at the end of the day is to make sure that the cats are groomed and in that relaxed so they can do their job well, which she kind of just blows it out of the park, and everybody on the team kind of recognizes this, and they reward her with lighter clothes and a crew t-shirt and their thanks.
I don't think the reward was specifically for the amount of work she's been putting in to be better at brushing. I think it was more an appreciation of the work she's done overall.
Right.
Like, oh, you're really good at brushing. Here's a t-shirt.
Obviously, it's for her overall quality of work. They wanted to give her a present.
Yeah, they were showing her their appreciation of the effort that she's put in and how well she's been able to integrate with them working at the ramen shop.
And then in the final portion of the episode, we get a little bit of backstory about Bunzo and Sasaki and how they were childhood best friends ever since they were kittens. That's adorable. They were found by the guy that used to run Red Cat Ramen, and they call him Grandpa. And Grandpa's still alive, and Bunzo regularly goes and visits him.
Yeah, I thought he was dead.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and apparently he's doing really well. And we get to see a little look on the inside of how close Bunzo and Sasaki are.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cute. And we just kind of see this like big development in like how close everybody is with like the cat pile that they're all taking a nap in, how close both of the owners are. There's a lot of really adorable interactions this episode, and I really liked it.
It was a good episode.
It stayed consistent, but but I think it went up a little bit this week with
It
the
did.
quality of the
Yeah.
show. Last week was the only one where we didn't have a huge decrease in quality.
Last week's Shoshimin was the best episode out of the three.
Right. We had Shoshimin was the best. Akaneko
Was good.
consistent.
It was consistent.
And then Nokotan
Was
a
depressing.
letdown. But I did see a huge improvement out of Shoshimin and now Akaneko this week.
Yeah, the show really seems to have found its groove with having 3 segmented stories, and then, as always, the
The daily Akaneko.
post-credit daily Akaneko.
Which, if you guys haven't noticed, I just lump these into
Yeah.
the actual show now.
Yeah, I think the show does best when it examines relationships with all of the characters and their interactions with each other. I'm finding myself less interested in how they interact with the public. I'm more interested in how they interact with each other and kind of their motivations and their histories. So I think that this episode did a really good job of that, I feel.
Oh, it did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Of developing all their relationships,
When-
creating external relationships for them as well outside of the shop.
Yeah.
Especially with the grandpa character.
The person who began the Red Cat Ramen.
Yeah, began it, made sure saved Sasaki's life.
Yeah, because Sasaki was a
Very sick kitten.
sickly kitten. The entire time where he's talking about, when Bunzo was talking about, the childhood and adoption, I couldn't see past the immediate story and kept wondering, wait, if the old man took Sasaki in, where did Sasaki get all this money from? Like, it kept repeating over and over and over in my head until finally Bunzo's like, and Sasaki was adopted. I'm like, oh, of course, why didn't I think of that?
Cats get adopted, buddy.
The old man just didn't keep him, just didn't continue caring for him like he did Bunzo. I'm like, oh, yeah, why? I don't know why I couldn't see that. But
I feel like that was a good thing for them business-wise, because if Sasaki and Bunzo were both raised by this old man, I feel like they would have more similar personalities.
So now we have to find out how long it took after the adoption for Sasaki and Bunzo to get to the position where they are now. What was the catalyst of them reuniting?
I feel like we'll find that out.
I think we will too. Something tells me, I don't know. I feel maybe it was after Bunzo had taken over reign of the shop, but that also doesn't feel right at the same time. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out. I'd like to find out. But we only have 4 more episodes left, I think.
I think so.
Maybe 5. Yeah, I think.
I think it probably had to be after the old man gave the cart to Bunzo.
Yeah, as I was saying it, I was thinking that Sasaki was probably the catalyst for shifting from cart to a physical location.
Right, because he had the money to do it.
Yes.
Bunzo just kept
it
doing
going.
the old man's tradition.
Yep.
Where Sasaki encouraged him to bend out of that tradition and settle down in one spot.
Yeah.
Which also, forgot to mention, Bunzo's trying out new menu items.
Yeah, he came up with a lighter broth.
With thinner tiger paw noodles.
Yes, because Krishna has been working on changing up some of her noodle cutting technique as well. This episode was Krishna, Tamako, and Bunzo being showcased for how they are trying to improve themselves for the overall benefit of the story.
Yes, lots of personal growth in this episode, which we love to see.
Yeah.
I love good personal growth episodes.
It was a good episode.
Very good episode.
This week in My Deer Friend Nokotan, we come to New Year's, and the Deer Club is going on Hatsumode, or the first shrine visit of the year, and they end up going to a shrine that's dedicated to deer, obviously. Koshtan, Bashime, and Anko go to the shrine, and Nokotan is going to meet them there, but she's running late, so they just funnel themselves into the crowd, start to watch the beginning of the ceremony. And surprise, surprise, the ceremony centered around, the shrine's deity is none other than Nokotan herself. So we see a bunch of traditional New Year's shrine activities being reskinned to Nokotan's crazed deer Jesus reality, including the 3 non-Deer Club members that are the girls from the student council. So Neko Yamada and the other 2 whose names I forget momentarily.
Tanuki Koji and Subameya.
Yeah, Subameya, Tanuki Koji, and Neko Yamada. After the Hatsumode is done, we skip ahead to the Deer Club back at school, probably a couple days after New Year's. and they are entertaining themselves by playing a deer version of the game of life. And it's Nokotan, Koshtan, and Anko who are playing it, while Bashime is painstakingly creating New Year's mochi. Took the rice up, pounded it by hand, and then did, not that it's my favorite, but I was pleasantly surprised to see this anecdote, which is something that a lot of people outside of Japan don't understand.
I immediately thought of this anecdote because you told me about it last New Year's.
Is that the New Year's mochi is very viscous. And unfortunately, there are many cases on New Year's where elderly people who have a harder time chewing and swallowing it will pass away through asphyxiation from the New Year's mochi. And this was presented by Bashime, doing essentially that until Nokotan granted her Dear Jesus antler powers to make her power through chewing the...
Moose Jesus.
Sorry, that's right, I forgot. During the course of the game of Deer Life, Nokotan had changed into a moose.
She evolved like a Pokemon.
She did evolve like a Pokemon. This episode was better than last week's, but I was still kind of bored.
I thought this episode was hilarious.
It was funny, but...
I liked this episode way better than last one.
I did as well, but that's not a very high bar.
I still like the series.
I don't know. The episode didn't click with me. I got...
You want this show to be Nichijou so bad, and it's not going to be Nichijou.
The only thing I didn't recognize, and I don't know the source for, was where the old woman who like freaked out for a moment at the shrine for Hatsumode. I know that's referencing something. I don't know what it is. Everything else, I understood all the other references, all the deep cuts. It was funny, but it wasn't what I was looking for. I don't know. The Game of Life was better than the Hatsumode, but because they just kept repeating the gag with the shrine visit. Like everything is deer. It's just like a normal shrine visit, but everything is deer based. Like the New Year's fortunes were all deer, antler and deer based.
I just think it's funny that Nokotan has been realized as a god.
Yeah, Nokotan is Dear Jesus at this point.
We called it. We called it.
We did, yeah.
We add it to the board. Add it to the board. We called it. We predicted something true.
We did call it. But yeah, it just felt like the first part, it just kept being the same joke again and again and again and again. I think that's what I didn't like about it. And the Game of Life, God, I hate the Game of Life. It was amusing how they like went off the rails. I especially loved the whole sequence of Moose God Nokotan saved America from itself.
Yeah.
That was funny. And if nothing more, though, the episode was good purely for the idea of Bashime trying to kill herself through New Year's mochi.
I immediately went, oh my God, they're referencing that?
And for the mochi thing?
And then I laughed. I'm a terrible person. I think they finally referenced a Souls-like.
What part?
The part where Koshtan grows all the antlers.
Oh, were they growing out of her body?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a way to die in Elden Ring called the Death Hex.
Okay.
And what happens is when you die from this, a bar fills up and spiny branches pop out of your body.
Okay.
And the sound of the antlers coming out of her body were very similar to the sounds of the branches coming out of you when you die in this status effect in Elden Ring.
I think you got your wish fulfilled. Just like 2 episodes ago, I got my wish fulfilled.
It was a very low tier reference. Also, the Smash Brothers reference.
Oh, I missed that.
When they're all like, Koshtan, something, like takes the stage.
No, I missed that.
When they're just about to play Life.
Oh.
It does the like quickly side-scrolling background.
Is that? I mean,
yes.
I feel that's in a lot of fighters.
Whenever they introduced a new character for Smash Brothers, which I'll show you after this.
Okay.
They would have that background, and it would be so and so take center stage.
Okay. To be fair, I've played maybe 20 minutes of Smash Brothers.
So they reference Smash Brothers.
Yeah. No, I missed that one because I don't play Smash Brothers.
I giggled.
Nice.
I giggled pretty hard. Also, did you pause and read their what their things were? I don't remember them exactly, but they were pretty funny for all 3 of them.
Things? What things?
It would be like Anko, and then she would have like a little description.
Oh, during the Smash Brothers intro?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
They were pretty funny. I can't quote them, but
okay.
They were all relevant to their characters, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think I just lost focus because I wasn't being entertained by the show.
You want this show to be Nichijou so bad, and it's
Not
not going to
necessarily,
be.
not that I want it to be Nichijou. I want it to continue being fresh.
I still think it's being.
And the New Year's one was not. It just was repetitive. It was like a Saturday Night Live skit. It didn't know when to end the joke.
I thought it was fine.
The Game of Life was fun. That was fine, but it felt like a waste just to do these two segments, where definitely the New Year's visit could have been a lot shorter.
I love you. But sometimes when a show doesn't initially meet your expectations, you don't tone down your expectations just the teeniest bit to meet what the show's actually going to be.
No, I want Nokotan to be better, even in comparison to what it was on episode 3 or 4 versus what it is right now. I want it to go back to being better. It really feels like, especially with how down the last episode was, that the writing has lost its steam. It's just not. The moose thing was funny as hell. That was the bright point of the episode, but I think a lot of it was just uninspired. And it pains me because it's been good and I can see even better for the show. And it's like, I want this to be so much better.
I think it's.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I enjoyed the show.
You know me, I'm super critical of everything.
I love you, but sometimes it's insufferable.
What do you think I feel? I have to live with myself.
God, I'm fucking insufferable.
Yeah. Shoshimin was good. I like that it introduced
It's okay.
some dramatic realism within it.
It better not just be a ploy.
I think it's a
If
ploy.
it's a ploy, I'm gonna angrily watch the rest of this show. If it teased me with fucking excitement and happiness for 5 seconds and then just went, "Fuck you, bitch," I'm gonna be mad the rest of this series.
We have 7 days to find out.
Those 7 days, they better write a thrilling fucking drama of an episode.
This series was written 20 years ago. The novels are from the early 2000s.
I don't give a fuck.
Story already
That
exists.
story better conjure up some fucking amazing, dramatic bullshit in the next 7 days.
Jogoro,
Or David's writing this off as the worst anime this season.
Jogoro has a particular set of skills.
If we go full on Taken. Let's go. Give me Liam Neeson.
No, Jogoro will be just fine. We don't need Liam Neeson.
Give me Liam Neeson.
I think Shoshimin's episode is the best episode of the week out of the 3, but Ramen Akaneko was a strong second. Ramen Akaneko was a really good episode as well.
I liked Ramen Akaneko better than Shoshimin.
That's perfectly okay.
Just because I liked the more character developingness of Akaneko
It was the entire episode was incredibly heartwarming.
over the carrot dangle at the end of Shoshimin. I prefer seeing actual development rather than carrot dangles.
Cliffhangers, man. That's all it is.
I hate cliffhangers.
Welcome to anime.
Welcome to a lot of pop culture. And it
Welcome to a lot of media.
fucking irritate. I hate it. If you're gonna end a season, resolve the conflict of the season. It doesn't have to be the whole story's conflict. Just leave off on a resolving conflict so that I can go into the next season and be like, all right, what next part of this thing are you gonna tackle? Sorry, I hate cliffhangers with a burning passion.
Thankfully for you, in that case, all of Evangelion exists on tape and you can watch it in one sitting. Because Evangelion was a really difficult series to get through some of the cliffhangers with.
Thank God I'm watching this. Thank God I'm watching it when it's all released.
Yeah, Nokotan was better than last week, but it's still kind of weak compared to what it's been. It was funny. It is so much better than what we've been getting the past 2 weeks.
Well, the week before last was good.
The week before last was great. That might have been the best. I loved that.
I still think it's funny that Anko just keeps falling deeper and deeper into her depravity. And how Koshtan literally pointed out that she would have been better at being a delinquent than she was.
Yes, that was pretty good at this episode. Yeah, Anko she has one setting. Anko used to have multiple facets to her personality, but now that she's just in the position of contact and comfort that she's in, she just has one personality right now, and it is violation of her older sister. All right. Thank you for listening. As always, like, subscribe, comment. We love getting comments. Join our Discord channel. Talk to us in our Discord channel. Harass me for my annoyance with Nokotan and
harass David about Shoshimin again.
Sure, you can harass David about Shoshimin if you would like.
Or come discuss the underlying aesthetics of Warhammer in the My Deer Friend Nokotan universe.
There we go. All right. Thanks again. We will see you all next week.